Cinemajaw is sponsored by Cards Against Humanity. They asked us not to read an ad. Enjoy the show. You're listening to Cinemajaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location at Cards Against Humanity in Chicago. My name is Matt Kay, and with me is...
Rye the movie guy, and sitting behind the glass inside the fish tank is Fill Me In, Phil.
How's it going, guys?
This week on Cinemajaw, Matt, we go incognito, if you will, as we cover our top 5 favorite movie disguises.
As long as you don't peel your face off at the end and reveal you're actually Matt Kay.
Or John Travolta.
Or Nicolas Cage, which might be on my list. Foreshadowing?
Movie disguises.
Yes.
They come up quite a bit, Matt.
They do.
It's a trope that we see quite often in films.
Let's call it a plot device.
Okay.
All right.
And we're doing our favorite movie disguises because it sort of ties into a movie we're going to be reviewing later.
Yes, indeed. Captain Marvel.
Yes. Where they are constantly taking forms and shape-shifting these
The Skrulls.
Skrulls.
Yeah. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
We also, Matt, besides going incognito, have a great guest who's going to be joining us.
Elliott Bambrough's coming back.
Yes.
I'm very excited to talk to Elliott.
It has been almost 100 episodes since we had Elliott on.
That's insane.
I know. Episode 317, way back, we had Elliott on.
Wow. Very close to exactly 100.
Host of Chicago's Best. We'll talk to him all about that and the upcoming Chicago Fire soccer season, if there's any soccer fans out there.
Yes, and a movie fanatic.
Absolutely. We got even more going on, Matt. We missed last week, so we got a big show.
We got a lot to catch up on. Let's do it.
Let's do it, Phil.
Yeah, we're also going to be going eye for an eye on Captive State this week.
And as mentioned, Captain Marvel is the big review.
Yes, and since we are going eye for an eye on Captive State, which stars John Goodman, I figured this is a good time for Elliott to take Matt on in John Goodman movie trivia.
I feel like we've done that recently, but okay.
It's always just a theme, Matt.
Okay.
I'm writing the questions, so I change them up all the time.
All right. It's fair.
All right?
Fair.
Plus, if you're a movie fan, you probably saw this in the news, and I wanted to bring this up at the top. Steven Spielberg, it's called Steven Spielberg versus Netflix. He wants to go to the board of directors of the Academy Awards,
Of which he is a member.
And get them to switch the rules so that a film has to play a required 4 weeks in a theater for it to be eligible to win an Academy Award. What do you mean? He's trying to save the art form of going to the theaters.
I disagree wholeheartedly. I think more people have the opportunity to see art the other way.
No, I think this is a very interesting discussion.
CinemaWAR.
Elliott's going to have his hands full with that one, Matt.
This is actually a good one.
It really is. I actually put more thought into this CinemaWAR than I have in a long time because I really wanted to make my point. I'm really behind going to see a movie in the theater.
50% less fart jokes.
All right, it is March, right?
Right.
And we owe the Jawheads a riddle, but let's start with the theme of the month. We have not revealed what our March theme is. Last month was romantic comedies. This month, ladies and gentlemen, because of Captain Marvel, Brie Larson is getting
Her own month.
Wow,
that's fantastic.
We have a lot in store. We have interesting facts, clips to play, poll questions. So let's get that theme going here, Phil, with something interesting.
Yes, in honor of Brie Larson Month on Cinemajaw, we celebrate with this fact. We all know Brie Larson is a fantastic actress, but did you know that she also had a musical career? At age 13, Brie landed her first record deal at Universal Records in 2005, and she released her album, Finally Out of P.E. And later that year, she went on tour with Jesse McCartney.
Nice.
Yeah, the man himself.
I don't know who the hell Jesse McCartney is.
I'm guessing some relation to Paul.
Throw that in the fish tank.
It's not Disney
not
Channel.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I know he's not really. He was in the Disney Channel original movies. He was in like Stuck in the Suburbs and stuff.
Doesn't mean he's not related to Paul McCartney.
What the hell?
No,
what the
he's
hell is the
not.
Disney Channel?
He was in. Okay, so Stuck in the Suburbs was the big one, but I know he's not related to Paul McCartney, and I'll look it up anyways. Just to, if I'm wrong, it'll be funny. But I know
Throw it in the fish tank just in case.
Yeah, he made Beautiful Soul too. So yeah, I can.
Yeah, it's his nephew.
All right. We're going to be celebrating Brie Larson all month long.
Great.
All right, Matt, it is March.
Yep.
Before we bring Elliott on,
Yep.
we got a riddle to clean up here. We always got to finish up February first.
Right.
Remind the Jawheads what the February riddle was.
This was the February riddle. We are not going to give you 99 clues, but here are a few. If you use Google, that may just do. I wasn't the first to play a famous killer, nor the first to be in a movie with dinosaurs. I have been a brother to both Paul Giamatti and Ben Stiller. Not to mention, I have fathered over 500 kids. Who am I?
Tim Costa wrote in, Happy February, and I hope your Valentine's Day gifts to each other are very sweet. This month's riddle was tricky until the last clue, oddly, a movie I haven't even seen. We are not going to give you 99 clues here, but here are a few. That is a nice nod to Brawl in Cell Block 99. If you use Google to help, that just may do. He played an intern at Google in 2013's The Internship. I wasn't the first to play a famous killer, nor the first to be in a movie with dinosaurs. He played the famous killer Norman Bates in the remake of Psycho and went to the island of Sorna in the Lost World Jurassic Park. I have been a brother to both Paul Giamatti and Ben Stiller. That was Santa's brother Fred Claus and Stiller's brother in The Watch. Not to mention, I have fathered 500 kids after an anonymous donation to a clinic in previous years. He learned he fathered 533 kids in 2013's Delivery Man.
Yeah.
The answer, Matt, Vince Vaughn.
Your money, baby.
Keep up the great work. We do pick out a winner, and the winner of the February riddle is Scott Verne of Hillsboro, Ohio.
Hey, congrats, Scott.
Absolutely. You win a prize pack, or you can hear yourself on Cinemajaw. So write us feedback at cinemajaw.com, and we'll get that prize pack out to you.
All right, so here is the March riddle. Everybody get your notebooks out. You might call me crazy, but I did not direct The Hunt for Red October. I just wasn't the right man for the job. In the 80s, I wasn't afraid. In the 90s, I went for several days and nights. Then in the aughts, I evolved. Don't tell me it just doesn't matter, because I know your daddy and what he does. Who am I?
If you know the answer to the March riddle, write us feedback at cinemajaw.com. Your name will get into a hat, and you can win a prize pack or hear yourself on the podcast.
I'm excited.
So am I.
Yeah, it's a new month. New things happening.
New March, new guest, a returning guest, Matt.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, Elliott Bambrough is the host of Chicago's Best and a huge movie fan, so it's very happy to have Elliott back on Cinemajaw.
Thanks, guys. It's good to be back. I mean, although you mentioned it's been 100 episodes, so I was wondering what I did wrong. Or if I did something right to only come back once every 100 episodes, like some kind of centenary celebration.
There's just a long waiting list, man.
It can happen. You
It's
guys
true.
do a great job. I mean, and you talk about fun subjects, so... The weird that you said, like, oh, Elliott's a film fanatic as well. Do you guys not have film fanatics on the show? Do you have people who don't like movies? Do they come in here to argue against movies?
Not often, but I would say there's been a couple that we think are bigger movie fanatics than they actually are. And when they sit down, they just don't know cinema that well. It makes it a rough show.
Most often, that's filmmakers. Maybe it's just because they don't have as much time because they're working, day in, day out making movies. But they don't watch film.
That just seems a bit short-sighted for the industry you're in. Surely you need to watch other people's work to say,
I agree.
I need to do that, or I need to do less of this, or...
Writers need to read, right?
No, not write. They need to read.
Read.
And write.
Right.
Both.
Right. Read.
Right.
No, read.
Read. Right.
And write.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Got it.
Correct.
All right. So as I mentioned, you are still hosting Chicago's Best. This is a long-running...
Unless you've heard something different, I don't know. I mean, I am still hosting it, yeah.
It is a long-running show here in Chicago. To have this long of legs... You got to be successful. You're talking about us being successful, talking about movies. Uh-huh. You got to be successul, and being on television, it's a constant grind.
It is.
So congratulations for keeping it going.
Thank you very much. I haven't destroyed the franchise yet. We'll hit 300 episodes this year, which for a TV show, some don't get past 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Some barely make it past 4. So to get to 300 is incredible. I mean,
that's great.
I'll be for around. I think I'll hit around 200 by the time we get to 300. So. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I heard you give a shout out to someone in Ohio. So I don't know if everyone who listens to CinemaJaw is going to know who I am or what we do, but we're a food show here in Chicago. We go around the viewing audience and we check out restaurants based on viewer suggestions. So they tell us where to go and we go and hit them up. And it's a lot of fun.
So yeah, you have the world's toughest job. You go to like restaurants and saloons and get to eat the best food in the city.
Yeah. We get to eat and drink our way across Chicago, and someone deemed it a good idea to pay me to do it. So good for them.
That's
I have the best
awesome.
bosses in the world. Yeah, I mean, I have an incredible job. It's a lot of fun. I work with a bunch of like-minded people, fun people. You know, we all appreciate what we do, and we all get along well, and it's like one big happy family.
Did you guys win another award? Did you get another Emmy?
We got 3 more Emmys this year.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
For sure.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun.
And I think what separates it too from you call it just a food show, and a lot of people may think at that point that it's 4 people sitting around a table really dissecting the meal, but there's a fun element to it. So each time you go to these establishments, not only do you try the food, talk about the atmosphere, but you also get to go back into the kitchen, see how it's made, and have a little bit of fun with the owners. I think that's what separates it.
I am not a serious person. I have fun for a living. You know, we go to a restaurant and you're right. It's our show. It's probably wrong to label it as a food show because it's an entertainment magazine, show every week. And it's just as much about the experience and having a good time and entertaining the audience as it is about the food. We don't critique the food. We don't, talk about the science behind why it tastes so good or what ingredients are thrown in. We go and we celebrate what our viewers told us was good, and while we're at it, we try and have as much fun as we can to entertain people. So yeah, it's an entertainment show with food as its center.
And the last time I think you were here, Brittany Payton might have been the co-host.
Maybe, yeah.
And now you have 2 co-hosts alongside you.
Yeah. Marley and Lauren are my 2 co-hosts. Brittany left just over a year ago, maybe 18 months ago, something like that. And she went over to Fox and she's having good fun. We let her out on good behavior. She left on early release. And she's having a good time. And, we still keep in touch. Much like all the other people who've left the show behind the scenes, we all still get along well. There's no animosity or anything. And she did great work. She was on the show from day one.
Yeah,
so,
long time.
But Marley's doing great, and Lauren's doing good. And so it's a lot of fun. It's changed the dynamic again for the show, and new people bring fresh ideas and new ways of doing things.
I have a quick question. So, have you ever been steered wrong by the audience? Have they sent you to a place, supposedly one of Chicago's best, and you go into this establishment and eat their famous dish, and you're like, oh no, this is just not good? You don't have to name names. Just curious if that's happened.
I'm going to give you 5 names of restaurants to not go to. Take notes.
I would love that.
How many times have you been to see a film where one of the other of you guys has said, like Matt's told Wright, this is the best movie I've ever seen, and he's like, that's the worst movie I've ever seen.
It's a weekly
Happens all the
occurrence.
time, right?
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, loving movie, and there's a certain art to it. There's some things that you can all have to agree on and say the cinematography is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
This is incredible. I didn't like the storyline. I didn't like the what it was about.
True.
So it's very subjective in some respects. As long as things are done right in the right way, then there's nothing to disagree about there. But someone's favorite film is someone else's least favorite film, and the same is true for food. Everything's subjective. Your favorite burger is someone else's least favorite burger. The best place you've ever had a hot dog is someone else's least favorite. You love thin crust. Someone else loves New York style. Someone else likes Quad Cities. Someone else has to go for Neapolitan. Everyone's choices are different. So who am I to say when I eat something that I'm right in saying that it's not? I don't think it's the best. It's someone else's favorite, and that's the beauty of food. I mean, it's the same with any kind of. I'd call food an art form because they're some chefs are artists.
Absolutely.
Any kind of art form, it's all subjective. With music, with movies, with acting, with food, someone else's hate is someone's love. So there have been places. Long story short, there have been places where I've been like, it's not necessarily for me. But someone else absolutely loves that dish, so it can happen.
How often do you go back to the restaurants after filming Chicago's Best, but then you go back on your own on a weekend, and then they recognize you and you get the full service because you just gave them a good
They
review?
bring you in through the back door like good fellas.
You're asking if I get treated like royalty. Sometimes that can happen. I mean, sometimes. Look, we have a very big audience who love our show, and they will go the next week after a new episode and go and check out the places we've been to. Subsequently as well, we're on YouTube, and we get like 50 million hits a year on YouTube. So people travel from Europe, from Asia, and they come to Chicago, and they type in Chicago's best food on YouTube.
Yeah, you got the Google juice on that that name.
They see a lot of our videos. So we get people come to restaurants from different countries, different continents. So people are very grateful. Sometimes, I never walk into some place and say, you're on TV, so you should give me some free pizza.
Do you know who I am?
But certainly we go to a restaurant and people have their businesses gone up like a huge amount because they've been on the show and they're grateful and they want to give you an appetizer or they want to buy you a drink or dessert. Sometimes that can happen, and other times people are just happy to see you again. I mean, I don't ask for anything. I don't expect anything. I like food, so I try and get back to some places when I can, but it's never. I've never gone back to a place like, I should go here because they're probably going to give me some free food.
That's how I would be.
You would be?
He's professional. I'm
when
not.
we said you never say, do you know who I am? Rye says it all the time.
All the time.
He goes into the movie theater. I'm Rye the movie guy.
When I go into the music box, right away I look for all my connections. Hey, could somebody get me a beer here? What's going on?
CinemaJaw coming. Is that Rye the movie guy? Oh, what, me? There's no one behind him. He was talking to himself.
Oh, right this way, sir.
I'm going to give you $10. You follow him behind me. You shout, "Are you Rye from CinemaJaw?" Take a photo of me and say you're going to post to Instagram. And then if I get him free, you'll get your $10.
I've made so much money that way.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Good stuff. But it probably allows you some free time to see some movies in between going to the restaurants. And being a critical guy, since you go and do Chicago's best, you probably got a critical eye for the movies. 2018, your favorite movie of last year.
My favorite movie, I wrote a list on Twitter, and I need to reference it, but one that springs to mind that we may or may not have talked about off podcast. I was about to say off camera because I'm used to saying off camera. Off podcast was Mandy. I absolutely adored it. I thought it was an incredible movie. It was refreshing. Maybe it was because it felt like I dropped something and my body was going through some kind of trip, and I wasn't privy to what I'd had or who drugged me. But it's mind-bending. It was refreshing. It had so many great qualities to it. Or maybe it was because there was a lack of script and I didn't have to listen to a certain actor talk for too much in the film and just scream a lot.
Yeah, he just screamed a lot.
Yeah. Mandy! Every now and then.
That's great.
Matt's favorite, I think it was 8 or 7 on my list. So a lot of love for Mandy in this room.
Yeah. Sadly, got no recognition in the award season. And I'm not even talking about the Oscars like any of the indie awards. Even our own film critics group dropped the ball.
We tried. We
was
tried
great.
hard.
We tried.
I tell you what, another movie that feels like it got overlooked. The Joaquin Phoenix movie. You were never really here.
That one, on the other hand, did get a lot of...
A little bit.
From
It
our
was from
group.
the indie groups, yeah.
Right, from the indie groups, but not a huge amount of acknowledgement from like the Oscars or anything like that. And I thought Joaquin was great in that, and so was the supporting cast.
Top notch.
It was a disturbing movie and difficult to watch, but sometimes the best movies are that way. But
I agree.
I think everyone's getting an inkling for the kind of movies I lead towards. Got a slasher movie like Mandy, and then You Were Never Really Here.
There's a good chance you hear Elliott back on come Halloween time.
Yes.
I may chain myself. I may chain myself to the studio until I come back. If you guys didn't listen to the last time I was on, I think I hounded them on that episode, and I've hounded these guys on Twitter in between. I begged them to come on for the Halloween episode because horror is my jam. That's what gets me off.
Awesome. All right, we'll have you on.
Thank you.
I'm stating it here on the air for the record. We'll get you back in October.
Love you guys.
Yeah. Now, we like to end all of our guest interviews with a silly cinema cue. Phil, you got something for Elliott?
So, yes, I do have something for Elliott, but I wanted to quickly disclaim first that I know I'm reaching, so don't give me any nonsense. But that being said, in honor of Brie Larson month, I wanted to ask you, Elliott, what do you think is Brie Larson's favorite cheese?
Well, we got a food guy on here, so it's not all that far of
That's
a
actually a
stretch.
good question.
Well, thank you.
In real life, or is this a gag?
Either or
Either
both.
A little bit of both.
Well, obviously it can't be Brie. That would be terrible. I mean,
Too low hanging.
right? Yeah, you got to go a little bit higher than that. Yeah. I don't know. Let's say Stilton.
That's a pretty deep cut right
Yeah.
there. I don't know if I've
Cheese.
ever even had Stilton.
No,
No.
Stilton's fun.
It's an
Yeah.
elegant cheese.
Is it?
I
You,
think
you
so.
probably
It's a
know
stinky-
cheeses.
It's a stinky
Yeah.
foot cheese.
Yeah. For the listeners that want to check you out on social media, your handle, where do they find more about Elliott?
They find I need to change my name. I think my name is ridiculously long and too difficult to even spell, but they can find me on Facebook under my full name, Elliott Bambrough, if you can spell that.
Well,
then
it'll
you
be
deserve an award.
It'll be in the show notes.
Okay, it'll be in the show notes. And on Instagram and Twitter, I am the letter E, the number 2, and then the BAM, THEBAM, E to the BAM.
E to the BAM.
Yeah.
That's a good handle right
I like
there.
that one.
Thank you. And you'll find me talking mainly about soccer, movies, silly humor, and maybe a little bit of food in there as well. And my dogs.
Elliott, for the record, is the only Cinemajaw guest that we've ever had on the show that I've run into at about 3+ soccer matches now.
That's right. Yeah, at the Chicago Fire at
Yeah.
Bridgeview. Yeah.
Yeah, and even the All-Star game down at Soldier Field. So,
Yeah, when we played Real Madrid. That was
Yep.
that was a fun game. And Nico played that game as well. So
Absolutely.
that was doubly cool.
It's good to have a soccer fan on the show, Matt.
I'm glad for you guys.
Yeah? You don't think the CinemaJaw audience would like to hear us talk about, for the next 30 minutes, about how optimistic we are for the Chicago Fire season? I think they'd enjoy that.
I don't know. That might be a pretty small segment of our audience, but hey, I'm
See, it's
willing
a
to be
treatment
wrong.
for a short movie.
We'll throw it on the bonus feature for
There
the
you go.
Patreon.
There we go.
Good stuff. So Elliott is sitting in on this entire jaw. He has his top 5 movie disguises that he wants to talk about, as do we. It's going to be a fun show, Matt.
Indeed.
Brings us to Eye for an Eye.
Yes, Eye for an Eye, Captive State. Set in a Chicago neighborhood nearly a decade after an occupation by an extraterrestrial force, Captive State explores the lives on both sides of the conflict, the collaborators and dissidents. The film stars John Goodman, Vera Farmiga, and Kiki Lane. It was written and directed by Rupert Wyatt, who is best known for directing 2014's The Gambler and The Rise of the Planet of the Apes in 2011. Rye, we throw it on over to you, buddy.
I'm always talking about I need more originality in my movies. And then when we get it, I'm always shaky when I hear this premise. But that it's a Chicago neighborhood and there were extraterrestrials here and John Goodman's in the movie, I'm interested. Matt?
I love John Goodman, so that really sells me alone. Although sometimes they'll have him in as a token John Goodman, and he doesn't really act well. This one, he looks like he has a bit more a role to chew on. But like you said, Ryan, I'm sold on Chicago. I'm interested.
Elliott?
You just want to know if
Interested or ignore on this?
I'd be interested. I'm down.
Phil?
John Goodman, I think, only makes good movies, so I also am interested, I think. Vera Farmiga is great.
True. Yes.
And I'm also waiting for them to say that Bad Robot is attached to this. in some
Right.
That'd
way.
be awesome.
I almost said it. Like has a bit of a 10 Cloverfield Lane vibe.
Yeah.
I was watching the new Roseanne series, and I was like, when is it going to turn into... or is she going to turn into the alien at some point?
She always was.
Exactly, yeah.
It was Ambien.
For-
That's what made her an alien.
That was too soon.
For
I don't know.
interesteds for Captive State. We'll have to check this one out, get a review.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And before, something that I had down in my notes that we didn't bring up at the top of the show, and before we get to Captain Marvel review, it came to our attention when we were talking about doing Brie Larson month that Matt has never seen Scott Pilgrim.
No!
It's true.
Have you read the graphic novels?
I have not, although I'm a big comic book reader.
That's a double no.
No!
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is amazing. Edgar Wright, I think I just love Edgar Wright's way, his snapshot directing. It's in your face, and it's just so original.
It's
and
a-
just, oh my God, it's so good.
So what we're
Okay.
going to
It's
do...
a big blind spot.
I've seen it, Phil's seen it, but we're going to rewatch it. Matt's going to watch it for the first time, and we're going to do a review for the Patreons.
Yeah. A
Sound good?
classic
Bonus.
review.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
bonus
good.
feature.
I like that.
Something to look forward to if you're supporting the show.
Yeah. Nice way to shamelessly plug our Patreon. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good
Speaking of new movies, Matt.
Yeah, speaking of new movies, Captain Marvel. 4 pet store turtles are exposed to radioactive goo and transformed into... Oh, wait a second, hang on. I got the wrong notes here. A strange visitor from another planet crash lands in the middle of America and is raised by farm folk, only to discover that Earth's yellow sun... Hang on a second here. I have it. A young woman... okay, here it is. A young woman comes of age in an isolated paradise island run by only women. Shit. All right. Superhero origin story there.
Space invasion, big car chase. Truth be told, I was ready to hang it up till I met you today. So you're not from around here?
It's hard to explain.
Ryan, I'm kidding. I make that joke at the top to address what I'm sure will be the main detraction of this movie. It does at times play things a little by the numbers, but really this is minor. As all hero origins follow the Campbellian hero's journey to some degree or another, consciously or not. Is Captain Marvel as important to gender equality as Wonder Woman was, or as important to representation as Black Panther? No, it's not, but that's okay. Those movies change things, and Captain Marvel builds on that change, makes them both stronger because they opened some doors. Without a racial or gender distinction in her superhero moniker like Black Panther, Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel just is who she is, and I think that's interesting. If Wonder Woman stood up and said women can be superheroes too, then Captain Marvel stands up and says, yeah, no shit. At this point, I'm not sure it's even fair to judge Marvel films individually without considering their place in the whole. That's just how it is, and Captain Marvel firmly advances the unprecedented masterpiece of visual storytelling that is the MCU in wonderful ways that are more than the sum of its parts. I'm getting off the soapbox now, Ryan. Here's what you need to know. When we meet our heroine, she's a soldier in an alien race known as the Kree. They are fighting a group of terrorists, shape-shifting aliens who can replicate anyone down to their DNA, called Skrulls. During one of her battles, she is forced to crash land on Earth and is quickly picked up by a young S.H.I.E.L.D. agent named Nick Fury. Buddy adventure ensues. Who is the enemy when they can become anyone? Who is Captain Marvel, and why does she have flashbacks of a childhood on Earth? The duo, her and Fury, set out like detectives to piece the puzzle together, and I was along for the ride. There were enough twists and turns in the story to keep me engaged. The humor is good, the acting is great, and the special effects are dazzling. There's a soul and depth in the movie and in the character that will bring fans back to see how her arc continues in Endgame and in her own future films. Bravo, Marvel.
Wow. I thought you would be somewhat high on this one.
Did I throw you off with the turtle thing?
Yeah, at first I thought, wow, maybe he's going to really poo-poo this, but I'm not going to poo-poo it either. I'll say that this is not top-tier Marvel, no.
I agree.
But was it bad? No. Did I have fun? Some. However, did I roll my eyes more than once?
Elliott's rolling his eyes.
Yes. And it's probably middle of the road when you're talking Marvel. So at the top, I would say this. If you're like Elliott, we were talking right before we started rolling, and you're not big into the Marvel universe and watching them, this isn't one that I would tell somebody like that, you got to go see. If you're already involved and invested into the Marvel films,
what if they were a little
by
girl?
all means. Still no.
That's what I'm most curious about is where does this fit in with the gender issues?
I think you had said it at the top where it doesn't necessarily push the boundaries such as like what Wonder Woman did. If anything, I felt, and I had this in my notes later to bring up, that this was the first time that I thought in any circumstance that the MCU Marvel was playing catch up to DC. And I thought there was one particular scene in this movie, and this is the moment where I'm Just a Girl plays by No Doubt, since this movie's taking place in the 90s, and there's this kick-ass action scene. Felt very much like they were trying to replicate that big moment that Wonder Woman had when she crossed No Man's Land. Like this was going to be her girl power moment.
Didn't even have close to the same gravitas.
No, not at all. But I felt that's what Marvel was going for.
Interesting.
And I thought they missed. And origin stories are all about self-discovery, but with Captain Marvel, the mystery is just totally about how she got her power and not necessarily who she is. So I felt that part was actually a little shallow.
I don't completely disagree with you. I mean, there was the relationship she has with Fury is enough to carry the movie, and it's Sam Jackson and Brie Larson at the end of the day. And they're great to watch on the screen, no matter what's going on, frankly.
My other complaint is the world building. We just reviewed Alita Battle Angel, and I was talking about how much I like that. Here, when we're on either like the spaceship or especially early on the alien planet, I felt that wasn't authentic enough for me. I never believed any of that world building. I felt like we were watching Brie Larson and
in a video game cutscene.
Yes, and making like a sci-fi movie, and not so much like that felt tangible and real. Too much CGI almost. Like it didn't feel real.
Interesting.
And then minor complaints. I hated, this is when I rolled my eyes, I hated when she changed the color of her suit to finally match the big moment of this is how Captain Marvel looks. Ridiculous. I mean, just such a put on moment for the fans that it just rolled my eyes big time. And I'm so sick and tired of these Marvel characters keep getting stronger and stronger with power, yet they can't kill anybody. All she could do against Jude Law and his little gang there is just forcibly push them against more walls, which is all these superheroes can do nowadays. Punch them, they go up against a wall. But no one can kill anybody anymore, it seems. Very, very annoyed already.
Well, heroes don't kill people, Rye.
Phil, I snuck in on this one. He was my +1. And,
you hit him in your backpack?
I mean, it's already like, oh boy, this is something. I got Phil sitting next to me giggling the whole time. Phil, what'd you think of Captain Marvel?
So I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'm probably closer to Ryan in that I thought it was good, just not great. But yeah, I'm not very familiar with the comics. I never read them, so I'll say that. I just think that Brie Larson's character of it was maybe a little bit too cheeky. I don't know. It felt like it was just Ramona Flowers again. Like she had that side of the mouth smirk. I felt kind of like enough with that. But I will also say that I kind of, to disagree with Ryan a little bit, think that the world building was pretty good. Not necessarily the world building
The
of
alien stuff.
Yeah, but the world building of the 90s.
That was cool. I agree. I like the nostalgia for the 90s.
Yeah, I just wish that they used it more than like the Nine Inch Nails T-shirt and the train sequence with the old
there was some
subway.
stuff like payphone booths and
Yeah, and like Ryan said, they had No Doubt and then the Blockbuster.
right. That's in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that did give me a little bit of existential panic.
What, you still have a you still have a VHS out that you haven't returned?
No, so what?
And it's not rewound?
No, even worse. I feel like this was the first time that the nostalgia was directed to me.
Phil finally comes of age.
Yes, yes, and like you guys have like Stranger Things and stuff where it's like that's your generation. Now it's like this is when I was a kid.
He's calling us old.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I am absolutely.
And now he
calling you
feels
guys
it too.
old.
But you bring up this payphone, and I've been saying that Marvel, we give them way too easy of a pass with their communication throughout all these movies. I always think they talk to each other. I've brought this up too easily.
Right, they just touch their ear and suddenly somehow.
And they don't even touch the ear sometimes. They just talk and somebody hears them from outer space or whatever. So in this one, you got Brie Larson literally wires a payphone and she's talking to somebody on a spaceship in a galaxy far, far away. And if you're watching it, they did that because they needed a plot device for those two to talk. But if they would have sat down, the writers, and thought of something a little bit more creative, but instead it felt so weak. Like, yeah, we'll just have Jude Law talk to her on a payphone from the stars.
Hey,
That made
but
no
it doesn't
sense.
bother you when E.T. takes a speaking spell and makes it
Come on,
extra
completely
dimensional.
different. Completely
Completely different. It's actually exactly the same.
She could have used the Blockbuster to meet the guy. He could have been returning the VHS that he did rewind, and they could have met in there and bought a Nine Inch Nail T-shirt together and stuff. I don't know.
Could have been.
What could have been?
Only what could have been. All right, let's break it down a little bit further. Best and worst moments here, Matt.
My favorite scene is the one that I actually think is the Wonder Woman crossing no man's land scene. It's when, and I don't want to spoil anything, I'll just say when Captain Marvel gets up. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like that scene.
Iffy on that one, but I'll give it to you. I wouldn't say that's
the
terrible,
scene that
but
really has some oomph, you know?
makes you feel a little bit. For me, the big moment that I had a lot of fun with and I laughed was these Skrulls can shapeshift into anything. And at one point, one of the Skrulls takes the form of an old lady on a train. And Captain Marvel realizes because she's seen this old lady on the platform and now sees her on the train again. And a fight ensues on the train. And everybody's reaction to Captain Marvel beating this old lady's butt was hilarious. They were actually trying to hold her back at times. I thought that played pretty well.
That was pretty cool.
How about a worst?
Still coming to terms with how the Skrulls are used. I don't know if any of you, maybe other than Phil, have read the Marvel comics. Elliott, do you read you read Scott Pilgrim?
Yeah, I like some Marvel. I don't want everyone listening in the CinemaJaw universe. What do you call them, jawheads?
Jawheads.
I don't want them to think that I hate Marvel. I like Marvel. I just get sick and tired of all the backstory and the origins. They're like, what are these powers I have? I'm like, oh my god, stop! Everyone knows how to use your powers. But I've read some Marvel comics. Yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So the Skrulls in the comics are insidious spies. They can become anybody. And they're one of the biggest threats in the universe. And I just want to say that they were used differently in this movie.
Okay.
And I think that sort of fails to set up some future plot points in the MCU that I was sort of looking forward to.
A wasted opportunity.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
For me, it's there's an ending sequence where some missiles are going to be fired that come out of pretty much, I think, nowhere plot-wise. They come in at the end, and it's really used to show how powerful now Captain Marvel truly is. Because we have to show now, it took us all this entire movie to realize her full strength and power. So somehow they have to have an ending moment that really proves how powerful she is. But I thought the lead up to get to what was at stake, if there were any stakes, and anybody really believed the world was going to be bombed, that whole entire thing seemed ridiculous.
Spoiler alert,
because
man.
it's a bit ridiculous.
I don't know about that one. But yeah, they also rehash one of the weakest villains in the Marvel Universe history? Question mark? I don't know.
Yeah. Influences?
Wonder Woman and Black Panther.
I saw a lot of Bourne Identity in this because
You're giving it too much credit.
no, just in the device that she doesn't remember who she was or how she got her powers. Very much like Bourne. Like she could use her powers but doesn't know exactly how she got them. You know, very much like Bourne was. You know, he had
I can run a mile flat out for 30 seconds at this altitude before my hands start to shake.
Did you learn anything, Matt Kay?
Did I learn anything? Yeah, and listen, I don't want to understate this. I did enjoy the movie. I learned that the MCU may be the single greatest achievement in cinema history.
Keep going with that. Come on.
It's unprecedented. This film project,
I'm so tired of it.
you guys can be tired of it. That's fine, but it ain't going anywhere. And I honestly think it's amazing. They are telling the longest serialized story in cinematic form. It's never been done before.
All right. So what I learned was that Annette Bening, when made up, can actually look like David Bowie. Did you catch this when she was in the
she's got the pixie haircut.
Yeah, and she was in the space outfit. I thought, oh my God, she could go as David Bowie for Halloween and no one would even know. Amazing.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. How about a movie poster quote, Matt?
I said it in my argument, in my review, that if Wonder Woman stood up and said women can be superheroes, and Captain Marvel stands up and says, yeah, no shit.
I went with lacking authenticity, Captain Marvel is not marvelous. How many Jaws?
It's 2.5 for me. I liked it.
2 Jaws for me. Middle of the road. Phil?
I'm with you, Rye. 2 Jaws, I think.
Guys, it's better than 2. It just is.
Okay.
Yeah. Other quick notes, real before we turn the page on this one. From the Notebook, 2 things that I noticed. Brie Larson runs really funny. I don't know if I really believed that she was an action star.
She's no Tom Cruise.
Yeah. And
wait, Elliott, do you like cats? Did we talk about this earlier?
Do I like cats?
Yeah.
I don't mind cats. Why?
There's a cat in the movie.
There's a cat in the movie?
Yeah, so if you're a cat lover...
What's the cat's origin story? And will they get a spin-off movie too?
Interesting you ask. He was exposed to radioactive goo. And
he's kidding. But no, there is a cat. The other thing from the Notebook, really nice Stan Lee tribute. I think most Marvel fans will really appreciate that.
Yeah, so well-deserved too.
All right, 2 Jaws from me and Phil, 2.5 from Matt Kay. If you've seen it and you want to chime in, you have Twitter pulled up. Shoot us a tweet at CinemaJaw. We will retweet it, get the discussion going. It does bring us, Matt, to our top 5 list. As we mentioned, the Skrulls can shapeshift and be in disguise, so we decided to go with our top 5 movie disguises, and we like to throw it to the guest and ask, was this a difficult list for you to come up with or pretty easy?
I thought half of it was pretty easy, but then Matt said, well, I couldn't go for superheroes because that's way too obvious. Now I'm like, oh shit, my list is like slashed in half now.
No, you can. I just tried to avoid
It's a cheat though, right? If I do that. I mean, it's to think of disguises. I mean, masks are obvious, so that obviously leads straight into superheroes, but characters wear different masks through a number of different films. And it was interesting to try and I refused to try and go onto Google or go onto IMDb or anything first. I wanted to try and remember films that stuck vividly in my head in terms of characters revealing themselves in a big shocking moment or a mask coming off or a disguise happening, and then those cinematic moments where when you watch a film with someone else, they see it for the first time. you're watching their reaction to see like when they get that moment, they go, "Oh no!" and you go, "Oh yeah, yeah." So yeah, I mean, it was fun to do though. It brought back some memories of some good movies.
Cool.
5.
Number 5. Here
What
we
you
go.
got?
I'm going to get this in here first before either of you two guys do. So I'm just putting it in at 5 just so you don't know. But it's still one of the greatest twists, I think, for a movie ever. It's a little bit controversial in terms of the actor choice because of where he sits in the world right now. But the greatest trick that the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist.
That's the Devil's Advocate?
No, that
that's
is
Kevin Spacey.
yeah.
Oh,
Usual
Kaiser
Suspects.
Sose.
Yeah. Kaiser Sose and Usual Suspects.
That's a good one. Verbal Kint. Right?
Verbal Kent. He sits there that whole interrogation. The lieutenant sitting there giving him a hard time, and he's crying about every time someone comes in and a new suspects emerge, and he's like, "You're useless, Verbal. You know, you're nobody. You're a bum. You know, you give me the names." And the whole way through the movie, you just see him as a part of the storytelling process. You don't even think for a second that he is the guy who's got all these other guys killed. He is the man at the heart of everything these cops are trying to get to. They let him walk. That limp goes.
I was going to say the disguise is
Oh
the
my-
limp and the way he just carries himself,
Yeah.
the shrugged shoulders.
I'm pretty good at reading movies. I mean, my wife hates it. We'll sit there, we'll turn on, and the credit will come up, and it will say like Warner Brothers, and if it's a murder mystery, I'll just go,
That's the guy.
yeah, it's the guy with the suit on, because if you look the way he came in, he was holding his left ankle, and clearly the guy who killed that person fell over on his way out, and she'll go, "Oh my god!" And then it'll come to the end of the movie, and it's like, we could tell that he rolled his ankle, and she's like, "I hate watching movies with you." And this is one of those few movies where when I first time I watched it,
You had no idea.
I had no idea, and I did the oh no, and I couldn't wait to tell everyone else about how incredible this movie, and the cast is incredible too.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean,
I like it.
Fenster.
Benicio del Toro.
Benicio
Del
del
Toro's
Toro.
awesome.
He's great in that too.
Gabriel Byrne,
Gabriel
right?
Burns.
I don't even like Gabriel Burns usually, but he's great in there.
And it's got some incredibly repeatable lines, some of those quotable lines in there, like "We can place you in Queens at the time of the robbery" and all that stuff. And
It's a good one.
And the Fenster with the repeat the lines, please. Give me the keys. It's like in English, please. And
Yeah, because he's almost like a Dick Tracy type villain, you know?
he's got this great, and that's, I think that was the first time I'd actually seen one of his movies, and I was desperate to find out, like, where is this guy from? Is that how he speaks?
He's a chameleon, man.
He's awesome.
He is.
But I'm sorry I've taken so long talking about my number 5.
That's a good
Hey,
number 5.
no, we like talking about.
Can I go next, Matt, and let you finish, or what do you want?
No, yes, please.
Okay.
Please, Ryan.
My number 5, I thought it'd be very appropriate. You go down to the Shakespeare Theater here at Navy Pier, and every Shakespeare play has somebody in disguise. They can never figure it out, right? And I thought that was really the nice thing in Shakespeare in Love, which was my number 5, where Gwyneth Paltrow actually disguises herself as Thomas Kent. And that's the whole idea here, is that at the time, women couldn't perform in the theater. You had to be a guy. She has this short hair and this just like ridiculous mustache. And we can clearly tell that this is Gwyneth Paltrow, but nobody else seems to know that it's a girl. And that's very much the Shakespeare way. So that's a nice ode to all of Shakespeare's work. And of course, she falls in love with Shakespeare, who ends up turning the play into Romeo and Juliet, and all the shenanigans goes,
Right. All
For
hell
life.
breaks loose.
It's good. It gets a lot of, I think, hatred because it ended up winning Best Picture over Saving Private Ryan, and then it becomes one of those movies where it's like, screw Shakespeare in Love. Just calm down. It's a good movie if you're watching it. Don't hate it. But did it deserve to win? I'm not justifying that. No, it was a bad choice. But
Didn't it get Best Supporting Actress for who played
Judi
the Queen?
Dench.
Judi Dench she's in it for like 7 minutes, isn't
Right.
she? And she got Best Supporting Actress that year at the Oscars.
yeah, throw that actually in the fish tank. I think there's an interesting fact. Maybe she was like the shortest screen time to win, or
Maybe.
there's something about Judi Dench.
Hey, when you're Judi Dench, you don't really need that much.
That's Dame Judi Dench
Yeah.
to you,
That's
sir.
true.
How many minutes she was on screen? My number 5,
All right.
Shakespeare in Love.
Swings it around to me. And at number 5, when you talk about the Harry Potter franchise, there's a lot of opportunity for people in disguises. They brew up the polyjuice potion right in the first movie. It's a major plot point throughout. But there's one in particular that was so disturbing when you actually stop and consider the ramifications of what it actually means, because Ron Weasley's pet rat was actually Wormtail the whole time. And spoiler alert, everybody.
Yeah.
It's disgusting and disturbing to think that his pet, which was like ostensibly just sitting in a cage in his bedroom, was actually a grown man. It really...
That could be an HBO documentary at some point in the future.
Right? It weirded me out on levels that I don't think were necessarily intended by the author, or maybe they were. Who knows? But that's part of why we love Harry Potter, I suppose. Great disguise. And he hid from everybody, including some of the most powerful wizards in the world. I think it's just a classic piece of disguise in storytelling and film.
I think if anything, he owes the Weasleys a little bit of money for rent or something, living there rent-free as an adult. That's freeloading at the worst.
And they were feeding him the whole time.
Right, and it's amazing how Ron, even once he realizes that his pet rat, which I think the rat's name was Scabbers, is actually this man, still loves him and wants his pet, you know?
Yeah.
It's disturbing and sad.
It's good. That's a good choice. I didn't even go Harry Potter. How
Me
about
neither.
that? Yeah.
There you go, guys.
So far, we're not on anyone else's crossover list?
This is
Not,
good.
not yet.
All right, number 4 then. Another movie that changed a lot of things for me. And again, I think this is another one where I didn't guess it right up until the end, and then it slowly all clicked into place. Tyler Durden. Fight
Oh,
Club.
wow, good choice, man.
What a reveal. I mean, again, you don't until you go back and watch it the second time and you see like the photocopy flips of him appearing and the images and disappearing, and when he shows up and doesn't show up, and how everyone reacts to him when he mentions Tyler's name. It's David Fincher, right?
It is.
David Fincher movie, and it's one of those movies that just is so quintessential Fincher. It's unlike anything else. The storytelling is so good. It's just a beautiful piece of cinema, and I love it. And it's one of those films, I think, where I tried my best to not like Brad Pitt, but when I saw him in Fight Club, I was like, that guy is phenomenal, and I want to be him.
Right.
And
I think
wanna
we all
dress
felt that
like
way.
him.
Yes.
And it's an incredible movie and an incredible reveal of the fact that he's not actually there. Sorry to spoil
Nice
it
pick.
if no one's seen Fight Club.
No, I think most.
The nature of the show, guys.
I would
there's-
hope so. Yeah, I'd hope
there's-
so.
There's going to be a lot of spoilers.
My number 4 is probably the least moment in the movie of the disguises in regards to the plot of the film. It's not that important. It's really played for a gag. But I had this in my mind, and I rewatched the scene, and I laughed, and I said, yeah, I got to put this one on my
Okay,
list.
well, go with it, man. What do you got?
2004, Shaun of the Dead. And the disguise is at a time when the gang of people who are not necessarily turned into zombies.
Yes. I know
are-
exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
are absolutely trapped. And this girl comes up with this plan that the best way to do it is just to act like they're zombies and
Right.
walk right through the whole street of zombies. And you get this wonderful moment. It's like a wide shot of about a group of like 5 of them that just start to do the zombie walk. And
They shuffle and moan.
yep, and Simon Pegg's mouth's open, and he's doing the whole twitch, and they basically just walk through an entire street of zombies acting like they themselves are zombies. Hilarious gag. I thought that even watching it the very first time was one of the funnier parts in the movie where I was laughing hysterically, and
One of
what
my
a
favorite
disguise.
films. One of my favorite films, and they almost get through until Nick Frost's phone goes off about getting some
then they
some
all-
more weed. No, mate, I ain't got nothing. Okay, stop it. Get off the phone. No, bruv, no, and just some friends. It's I love that.
Yeah. The thing is, too, is I think times I always think a character should play dead when they're amongst, other dead people. I always think to myself, just play dead, or as a
Well,
device.
I think
And
in The Walking Dead, they actually cover themselves in like gore.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say in zombie movies, I've had that thought, like just act like you're one of them, Worked wonderful
Lo
for
and
Sean.
behold, Rye the Movie Guy has a zombie movie.
Who knew? My number 4.
Well done. All right.
That swings us over to Matt Kay.
All right, guys. I almost want to apologize for this one. That's probably why I had that mix up there. But I'm going with it. It's 1994, Jim Carrey, The Mask. It's right there in the title, The Mask. It's about... I honestly think that the movie is pretty silly and dismissible, but when you consider its deeper meanings, and especially if you've read the comics, there's some... It's pretty heavy stuff. Like, Stanley is... sort of overlooked, invisible in his day-to-day life. He finds this magical mask and becomes this maniac. He's a ladies' man, master with women. He can sing and dance and kill people and fight. And I really enjoyed the adventure quite a bit.
I haven't seen it in a very long time. I think I've only seen it the one time it came out in the movie theater.
Same.
That I saw.
Really?
Same. Yeah, I don't think I've seen it. I think Kerry's one of those guys in some of those early performances where it's so over the top, and I don't think the movie. I think the like you mentioned the cartoons are much more dark. It's much more
dark.
adult, and it's not reflected in the movie. The movie's it's like a family film. Like
Almost.
yeah. Loki's mask. Oh, come and see this guy change his life and have some fun. And it's like the comic book's like death, murder, lies, deceit.
Right, yeah.
Right.
But things go wrong for the people that wear the mask in the movies.
Right, that's
or
true.
in the comics.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. I mean, but yeah, I think I saw it at the movies. That was
Yeah,
it.
only it. I've had no desire, I guess, to like go back and watch it again.
I liked it. I guess I was a bit of a Jim Carrey fan at the time, so it's a soft spot in my heart for it.
Nice. I'm having to choose from my list. I've got 6, 4, 5. I've got 6 more written down. I'm gonna go old school. I'm gonna go for a classic. And I don't know if I should bother talking it up or not. It's kind of a breakout role for this guy. In some respect, he didn't play any other roles apart from this afterwards because of his association with it. The film was controversial for a certain scene at the beginning. And it still makes me look through every room in a hotel before I get there. It's Anthony Perkins and his mother in Psycho.
Yeah, I dig this pick. For
I
sure.
didn't get a good reaction out of you guys. I feel like I didn't make a good pick.
I'm trying to remember what scene at the beginning was all that controversial.
Well, it's where she's naked in the shower and he's stabbing her to death.
Yeah, I mean, it's relatively early on, not right at the beginning,
well,
but
it's
whatever,
not
20
right-
minutes
yeah,
in or
20
whatever.
minutes. Yeah, I mean, I seem to remember that there was a bit of a furore about the fact that she was naked in the shower.
Well, I think what it is all of Elliott's disguises are, they're not like necessarily like there's, he had a mustache on or, it's all very much, a personality and the way the guy carries himself in all three of your picks.
In this one, it's more to do with a wig and a dress and a knife.
Yeah.
But he also alludes to Mother's existence up at the house, and he
Right.
points to her. She's in the window, so there is a disguise in a way that he's disguised himself as a normal person,
Right.
with this mom who lives up on the hill, and everything's fine, folks. Nothing to see here.
Right. Are you guys trying to tell me nicely that I've done a really bad job on my picks?
No, not at all.
No?
No, we just come right out and say it.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think
it's
again,
Hitchcock, dude.
My dad and my granddad both love movies, and this was one of those movies that it was always on the list of we're going to sit down and we're going to watch this, and I loved it, and it was a real gateway to Hitchcock as well. I mean, it was just the way he made movies, the way he directed.
How old were you when they sat you down to see this?
I think I watched this when I was probably like 7 or 8 years old.
Ooh.
That's
This explains
tender
a
young
lot.
age.
This
yeah.
explains a lot.
And now you love
saw
horror.
Alien. I saw Alien when I was 9.
I probably did
and
too.
The Exorcist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and all that kind of stuff. So
Same.
I'm twisted from a very early age.
That's why we like him.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Agreed.
My number 3, I mean, now we switch gears to like a kid's movie. Mine comes off like just a
It can't be worse than
childish
The Mask.
pick.
Go ahead.
Well, it also stars Jim Carrey.
Oh my God, double carry on.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you got?
Unbelievable. But this one really is a kid's movie. But I saw it and I didn't really actually even care for the film in general. But if you're talking about disguises, I really thought they did a great job with Lemony Snicket's.
Yes.
And
I love that movie.
The makeup is fantastic.
Right. And so the whole idea here is that he's plays Olaf, which is their like estranged uncle that is he's trying to get like custody of kids and make this money, yada, yada. Well, anyways, he's trying to get near the kids. And to do that, he has to go on incognito as random people. And so my favorite of them all is the Italian scientist, Stefano. And he comes over there, and I watched this scene again today, and the makeup is just outstanding. And Jim Carrey, because he's so charismatic,
And rubber-faced.
and he just sort of comes through as Jim Carrey to the audience, like, oh, we know it's Olaf, we know it's Jim Carrey, but it's done with this awesome makeup job, where it's just looking at him, you wouldn't know it if he just stood still. But the way his mannerisms are, you just know it's him, and it's played for laughs and a little creepy, I guess. But
I think with Man on the Moon, I think that's one of my more favorite Kerry performances was Lemony Snicket's. He's so good in that. I mean, he really carries that film, and it's such
Truman
a great story.
Show.
Truman Show, yeah, that's up there too. But the thing is, we're talking about the disguises thing. I think, and I have to mention Man on the Moon because I think that's my favorite Kerry performance. That's a pretty good disguise if you want to talk about makeup and just disguise.
Yeah, I mean, are we talking about Tony Clifton? Or?
Oh, Clifton. Oh, my God.
That's a good disguise
That's
right there.
great.
Dude, so
That should be on the list.
I don't know if I've told
We've
this story
told
on
the story.
All right, I'll tell Elliot
Tell me,
after.
tell me.
I met
It's
Tony
okay.
At break.
Clifton.
Shut up.
Yeah.
After break,
I'll
we'll
tell you
talk
at the
it.
break. I'll tell you at the break.
I've heard this story so many times.
Did I tell it on the show?
I do want to say Lemony Snicket's is a television show on Netflix. Has
Yeah.
anybody seen it? Or
No.
It's too much music in it for me.
Too much.
I got like halfway through the first episode.
I haven't given it a shot yet.
Don't bother.
Okay.
I got Rick and Morty's to catch up
I'm
on.
going to go on Elliott's suggestion.
You're welcome.
Don't bother.
Yeah, that's my Netflix one-line review. Don't bother.
There you go.
All right, swings it to me at number 3. Guys, this one's obvious, and if I'm stealing anybody's number 1, I apologize. One of the best actors of all time, best comedic actors certainly, Robin Williams in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Could have been anybody's number 1.
So here's the thing. We were talking about Lemony Snicket's and how amazing that makeup is. I honestly don't think the Mrs. Doubtfire makeup is that good at all. He does not look like a convincing woman one bit. I mean, if that thing walked into my house, I would grab the nearest baseball bat. Seriously. Can we be honest? Even when I saw this the first time, I thought that makeup isn't good, which just goes to show how amazing Robin Williams is as an actor because he sold it. He became Mrs. Doubtfire. He breathed life into that character to the point where not just the characters in the film, but me as a moviegoer was kind of sad when he took off the disguise and became regular Robin Williams schlub loser dad that he was in the film. Just a great disguise.
You really liked him as Mrs. Doubtfire.
Didn't we all?
Yeah.
It's I almost want to say it's one of his best roles. It's not. It's one of his most well-known roles.
Yeah, it's not my favorite Robin Williams movie in the slightest. I agree. The disguise is great. He's such a great impersonator and stuff. But I think Good Will Hunting.
Oh yeah.
I think Fisher King.
Awakenings.
Awakenings is great. What else am I missing?
1 Hour Photo.
That he's superb in that. Yeah, I don't think I really like Mrs. Doubtfire that much of a movie.
It's a classic.
It is a classic. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's just not my liking.
It's fun to watch Pierce Brosnan get some poop, because he doesn't often.
He needs more poop.
He does.
In his life.
He does.
He does. He deserves it for those good looks. Good choice, though.
I mean, it's a disguise movie.
Into our 2s, Elliott.
Oh dear. Into our 2s. Which way do I go? Do I go the obvious route or do I go for my other choice? I'm gonna go a more obvious route. Going back to another cartoon character or another graphic novel character. I like the little man against the big man. I like the fight for truth. I'm such a huge fan of this graphic novel. And although some parts were changed by the directors, pretty much strict to the script or to the original storyline, it's V from V for Vendetta. It's
I'm clapping, yes.
Such a beautiful movie. If you guys haven't read the graphic novel, I have it in pristine condition at home. You can borrow it. If you make any kind of folds in it, I will kill you. But I loved it, and the sisters do an incredible job. I mean, The Matrix is one of my all-time favorite films. It's just such an uplifting film for the little guy. And again, V for Vendetta with its be careful of controlling government storyline and stuff. But there's a character who, from start to finish, doesn't remove his mask.
Right.
You never see what he's like. You know what he's going to be like behind there because you know what's happened to him. All you ever see of him is a shadow from breaking free from the facility he's trapped in. And that Guy Fawkes mask is just so...
It's iconic.
It's powerful, yeah. It's iconic. It's obviously associated with the Houses of Parliament, the attempt to try and blow them up hundreds of years ago. But within that movie and just that character and what it evokes, it's a great film.
Now the mask is more about the internet culture
Right.
and resistance and everything else. And there's that line that he says, "There's a face beneath this mask, but it is not me." I'm an idea, and ideas are bulletproof. I love that.
Oh, you do like that movie?
Oh yeah,
I love it.
Right? Have you ever read the?
I've never read the novel,
It's
but I've
great.
seen the movie a few times.
It's super good.
I own that one.
The graphic novel's way better. Although I did like the changes they made.
Yeah.
They were enjoyable.
Yeah, I didn't have a huge problem with it. I mean, I don't think it made a massive difference to the storyline.
No, but it was good.
Yeah.
Nice pick at number 2. I keep it up here with a sci-fi film that came out in 2013.
Okay.
I don't know, Matt. Maybe you finally have caught up with this one. I remember,
Try me.
telling you to check this one out. Stars one Scarlett Johansson, and in a way, there's almost 2 disguises going on here.
Still haven't caught up with
My
it.
number 2 is Under the Skin.
I don't know this one.
All right, so this was a smaller movie, and oh my God, I didn't write down the director. Throw it in the jaw box, will you, Phil?
The fish tank.
Sorry, throw it in the fish tank, Phil. So the idea here is that an alien comes down to Earth, and it takes the disguise of Scarlett Johansson. And the idea is that she is going to basically start to devour men.
Not the actress. The alien's an attractive woman.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's not like one of those Jean-Claude Van Damme
Yes,
play-on movies.
it's not like
Okay,
it's
okay.
Scarlett Johansson. But the idea here is she's going to devour some men, and so she's trying to attract men to lure them in.
It's like a Black Widow.
It's like Species.
Right.
Yes, and the second part of the disguise is the fact that Scarlett Johansson then got made up and actually got in a car that was rigged with cameras, and they actually picked people up that didn't know they were ever going to be in a movie. And she talked to them, and then they film all this, and then got the rights to use these guys in the film. But for the whole conversation, she's talking to them. They don't know that they're being filmed or that they're sitting next to Scarlett Johansson.
That's cool.
It was really
They're
good.
just like, you're pretty hot. You look just like Scarlett Johansson.
How long you been an Uber driver for?
Exactly.
What do you do for your other job?
It's a really interesting film. You got to see it. I know some people don't enjoy it. I think they think it's going to be a little bit more like action packed as far as like a sci-fi movie goes. It's not.
It almost plays it more as a horror film, if I'm not mistaken.
We were talking right before. I think this was not on the podcast. You were saying about Hereditary being an art house.
Yeah, not
So-
a horror movie. It's an
horror
art house
movie.
film with some
So
creepy bits.
know this. This is an art house sci-fi film. Go into it with that, and I think you'll enjoy it more.
I appreciate you for letting me know that, as opposed to telling me it's the most sci-fi movie that you've ever seen.
Yeah, art house sci-fi is the way you think of this one.
I can live with that.
If you haven't seen it, well worth a spin.
I do have to catch up with this one. All right. I guess that makes it my turn. And I think you probably knew this was going to be on the list because we talked about it a little earlier. 1997, Nicolas Cage, John Travolta, masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
Oh, probably the pinnacle of their collaborations together. Face Off.
What? Face Off.
Face Off, man.
I know. I'm kidding.
Probably the best identity switch movie ever. I mean, what do you got? The Parent Trap, Freaky Friday? No, it's Face Off.
Mm-hmm.
It's the number one, and it's silly, action, fun, with 2 of my favorite silly action guys.
They're pretty silly together.
Yeah,
There's some really uncomfortable scenes where they've changed their faces, and it's the hilarity. The hilarity. It's a good choice though. I like that.
It's really funny when you think about John Travolta and Nicolas Cage changing faces like Freaky Friday.
I wish they do that in real life.
I do too.
I read an article that I guess Nick Cage was such a method actor that he insisted on actually getting his face cut off and replaced with John Travolta's.
I thought you were going to say that he learned how to do all the moves from Saturday Night Fever.
That's where I thought he was going
I
with
thought he
it
was
too.
going with that.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I did write it down as an honorable, and I watched a couple of clips, and I laughed out loud.
It's right. It's a dumb,
It's so
fun
silly.
action movie that's held up remarkably well if you look at it as campy, dumbness.
All right, we're into our number ones. Our favorite movie disguises. What do you got, Elliot?
This is obvious. We were going to get here at some point. I'd be surprised if it's not on someone else's list at number one, seeing as we've got this far without a single crossover. It's the ultimate reveal. It's the ultimate mask. It's a movie I can watch anytime, anywhere, any place, happily, contently, although a lot of other people get very frustrated by it. It's the basis with which my cinema love probably started out.
Wow.
And it's...
I'm nervous.
Yeah,
Anybody
me
else
too.
nervous?
We better give him a really
yeah,
good reaction.
my palms are sweating.
It's a character that comes in a galaxy far, far away, a
Yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's a reveal that still shocks kids to this very day, as long as they haven't seen the first 3 abysmal incarnations of the series.
I still don't know what he's talking about.
It's
I have
Darth
no
Vader.
idea.
It's Darth Vader. It's probably the cinema's greatest mask, greatest villain, greatest disguise. You just don't see it coming. And even today, I know what's going to happen when they're on that ledge and Luke's trying to kill him. And he's hanging on for dear life. And he says, Obi-Wan never told you the truth about your father. He says, you told me enough. You told me you killed him. No, I am your father. That's still to this, even just saying that now, it's the hair on the back of my neck.
Goosebumps.
It's the greatest disguise ever. Ever will not be beated. Well, it could be by your 2 choices, but I'm just saying from my personal point of view.
Yeah.
I agree with you, man.
Strong number 1.
It is a strong number 1.
So I have to follow this number 1 up with a classic. So I went all the way back, dialed it way back.
Okay.
1959.
Jesus, what have you done here?
Black and white, comedy.
Yeah, obviously, 1959, yeah.
But it was one of those movies that it gets talked about a lot. You'll know it once I say it. But it was one that I thought, let's see if it holds up.
You going
And
like
I
Eyes
watched
Without
it.
a Face or something?
No, I watched it, and it really does hold up. It's very funny. I think it is must-watch cinema. Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis, Some Like It Hot.
It's a great movie. It's a great
Right?
movie.
Are you 75 years old?
That's a
No,
good movie,
It's
man.
a really good movie.
You know what?
who
I
else
nearly-
is in this? Is Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. I nearly threw in an old Ealing comedy in my disguises, and I might be asked if I can throw it into the record just as an also-ran. But I love old movies. There's something about old movies. There's something about the classic way of doing cinema. And Some Like It Hot, is it you have to see
It's a
Some Like It
classic.
Hot.
I've never seen it.
Now,
Never seen it.
So here's the idea. You got Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis they work at like a speakeasy. They're on the run from like the mob and the police, and their only way to get away from everybody is to dress up like women and join this all-girl band that's going down to Miami on a train. And so they dress up as women, and they're both jazz musicians who are working at the speakeasy.
So they know how to blend.
So they know how to blend in. Now they're women, and they're in this all-women band, and the lead singer is played by Marilyn Monroe, who they are both smitten
Gaga.
with. I
Oh,
mean,
you're
they're
right.
just crazy. But they got to remember that they're women, and this is when all the fun stuff happens, because they clearly want to hit on her, but they're dressed up as women and so forth. It's awesome.
It's a
Okay.
great movie, dude.
It really
You
is.
gotta see it.
I do. I have to see it before I judge. I really just like giving Ryan crap.
Okay, then that's a terrible choice, Ryan.
There you go. Thanks, Elliot.
My number 1, Some Like It Hot. What
That's
do
your
we got,
number
Matt?
1.
Yep.
That's
Is
his
this
number
any
1.
particular order, or just that's your number 1?
That was my number 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like Elliot, and Ryan, I also chose a classic. It has been called, mostly by me, but I think a lot of people would agree, one of the greatest films ever made. Full stop. And I am talking about The Man in Black, also known as the Dread Pirate Roberts, also known as Wesley the Farm Boy in The Princess Bride.
Oh,
Right?
What a disguise.
I love that.
I mean, yeah. When he talks to Robin Wright, Princess Buttercup, and she's telling him about how Wesley died, and she's like, "You mock my pain. Life is pain." I love that whole thing. The movie is one of the funniest movies, but it's also one of the most heartfelt, fun adventures. The swashbuckling in it is second to none. I dare say maybe even better than Star Wars. Maybe.
In terms of what the story or the
swashbuckling.
swashbuckling? Yeah, I mean, you can't be a bit of Errol Flynn. You can't be. Have you guys ever seen the movie Swashbuckler?
No.
With Robert Shaw? Mm-mm. Oh, that's a classic.
Really?
Yeah, check it out. Robert Shaw in Swashbuckler. It's awesome. But I mean, obviously, yeah, Princess Bride, the swashbuckling is incredible.
I mean, I love me some swashbuckling.
Me
so.
too.
Just
Who
wrote
doesn't?
it down here. Swashbuckler.
Swashbuckler is a terribly awesome movie. It's incredibly fun. Seriously,
I
it's
gotta
a
write it down,
pirate
too.
movie, and it's. I'm not going to spoil it. I want you to watch it. I love Robert Shaw.
Does somebody stick a knife in a sail? And
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
That's that one. Okay.
Yeah,
That's the one they're watching in the Goonies. Where
No, that's an Errol Flynn movie. They're watching the Goonies. I think there's another cell bit in this. James Earl Jones is in it as well. He plays a voodoo Haitian pirate.
so
in
it ties into Star Wars.
It kind of, yeah, a little bit, yeah. But it's a good movie. But can I just quickly add to your?
Please.
Because you were saying Some Like It Hot. I very nearly threw in a movie from the Ealing Studios back in the 40s and 50s in the UK, a movie called The Lady Killers, which was remade.
Oh, yeah.
The
Not that
original,
good.
the original is incredible, and I urge any of your fans out there who've never seen it. It's a comedy. It's hilarious. Alec Guinness is in it. Herbert Lommer's in it. Peter Sellers is in it. The disguise element is that these guys are posing as musicians, and they're actually going to rob a train at King's Cross Station. And this old lady who takes them in then discovers it. But the remake's terrible. The original is so beautifully put together. It's such a wonderful old English comedy. And Sir Alec Guinness and Peter Sellers in it in particular are incredible. So people really, really, really please check that out if they haven't seen it.
Okay.
Nice.
Got any honorables?
Yeah, quick honorable mentions. One right at the top that nobody mentioned, and it'd be a shame if we didn't. Tootsie.
Tootsie's a good one.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen it in so long.
It's been
I was a
I
kid.
forgot as well.
I can't speak of it that
Yeah.
well. Total Recall with the is it Arnold that turns into the lady and then her head comes off?
Yes.
Yeah.
Get ready for a
yeah,
surprise.
surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
part.
two last ones. The Saint with
Is that Val Kilmer?
Val Kilmer
Yeah.
played the Saint, which was based off of a TV show.
Yeah, that
And
Roger Moore was in.
Last but not least, let's not forget, I believe it was the Wayans brothers in White Chicks.
Oh my God.
Another disturbing makeup job.
Yeah.
I got two fast ones. The Mission Impossible series is iconic for those masks coming off. Almost, that was low-hanging fruit. Sister Act.
I was just thinking that, yeah. Sister Act.
that's what I got.
I got Batman, obviously. I mean, that I was toying with putting him in number one because I love Keaton. I mean, that rebirth of Batman was when I was a kid with
brilliant.
Prince doing the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Was like just had me in rapture when I was a kid, and seeing
Same.
that on the big screen was incredible. And then Bale again reinventing him with Nolan was just like Batman, how I always wanted to see him be that way. The other one I had was Teddy Daniels, Shutter Island.
I'm trying to remember the disguise. What?
The disguise
I
is
love
he
the
thinks
movie.
he thinks he's going to the island to to solve a crime as a detective.
Right.
When really it's a practice for the psychiatrist there to try and get him to bring back his memory that he's forgotten.
Oof, that movie's brutal. I love it.
Yeah.
It's
Good one.
great noir.
There's no doubt. If we missed your favorite movie disguise and you have Twitter pulled up, shoot us a tweet at Cinemajaw, or you can email us feedback@cinemajaw.com. Still to come, Matt is taking Elliott on in John Goodman movie trivia, plus a CinemaWAR looking at all this controversy about Steven Spielberg versus Netflix. All that and more. Stick with us.
Let's all go to the lobby.
And now, Brie Larson gives relationship advice to Amy Schumer in 2015's Trainwreck.
Just breathe. It's fine.
He wants to have kids.
Amy?
Like right now.
People talk about that.
Not really.
It's fine.
I don't know anyone that talks about that.
He's great. It's normal. I think Aaron's great. I really like him.
Can you tell the members of Heaven's Gate in there to relax? No, he's too nice.
He's not too nice.
Yes, he is. He's too nice for me. You know it.
No, no. He's the perfect amount of nice that you deserve.
Yeah, but you know what? There's deal breakers across the board with him. Like the sex is good. It's like really good. Like it's great, but it's not like the best I've ever had. You know?
You're right. You don't want best sex that you've ever had, guy.
No, you want to stay with the best you've ever had guy.
No, you don't. That's a creepy guy. You don't want to be with that guy. Best sex that you've ever had, guy, is in jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I've been thinking about maybe reaching out to him.
The popcorn can't
As
be
part
beat.
of Brie Larson month here on Cinemajaw, we are running a poll question
Oh, do tell, Rye.
right at the top of our Twitter page, pinned at the top. So if you go to Cinemajaw's Twitter page, you'll see a poll question. From Monday the 11th through Friday the 15th, you can vote on this poll.
Okay.
And it's a pretty simple question, pretty straightforward. Which movie role of Brie Larson's is in fact her best?
Yes, and your choices are Captain Marvel, Room, Short Term 12, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, or other. If you want to pick something else, just send us a tweet.
Yes, so please do vote, and we'll have those results later on in the month of March.
Thanks.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And we are back on Cinemajaw, hanging out with Elliott Bambrough.
Hello.
Do people get the last name wrong?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he?
I thought I did pretty
It's
good.
pretty close.
Bambrough.
Bambrough.
Bruh.
Bruh. It's like it trails off into the distance. Bambrough. Bruh.
Bambrough.
Bambrough.
Elliott Bambrough.
There you go. Yeah, that's kind of good. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. My family some people in my family still spell both my names wrong, so I'm never offended. I mean,
Do they forget the extra T in Elliott?
people forget the extra. I mean, you can spell my first name wrong so many different ways: 1 L, 1 T, 2 L's, 1 T, 1 L, 2 T's. People put the I and the O round the wrong way around. It's just a mess. And then my last name, don't even go there. Don't forget about it. All bets are off.
Because we mentioned that you're into soccer, have you seen the movie Early Man?
No.
Okay, it's an animated movie that came out last year. It's by Phil. Chime in here. Who's the
Aardman Animation.
Artman
Aardman.
Animation?
They did Wallace and Gromit.
Oh yeah, Nick. That's Nick.
Yes,
Nick
Nick Park.
Nick Park. Yeah.
Right. So he did a movie called Early Man, and it's about cavemen and basically how they discovered the game of soccer. If you're a soccer fan, it's all the jokes of how the beautiful game got
ruined or got
well,
invented?
it got made and got invented, and
Nice.
It's got the players falling down, faking injury, and how that came about, and everything. It's hilarious.
I have to
You'll
check
enjoy
out.
that one.
Thank you.
Early
Thank you for
Man.
sharing.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what we do.
We do.
We
There's a
talk
lot of
about
love.
movies.
There's a lot of love being shared around here.
Yeah.
A lot of movie love.
Before we get to trivia and before we get to Cinema War, we did throw a couple items into the fish tank. Let's open up that fish tank.
Wait a moment! It's fish! Isn't it?
DC! Wake up! Wake up! No, Pat, it's a giant glass bowl. Hey, get some fish folk.
Who's coming with me besides Flipper? Here.
That's a Sicilian message. It means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey guys, how's it going? Good to be out. I do real quick want to ask Elliott one more question. Do you have an easy middle name?
Wilson.
Okay, not
Yeah,
bad.
that's not bad. Maybe I should go by Elliott Wilson. But strangely enough, I went to school with a kid called Elliott Wilson.
Really? What are the odds?
Yeah, I know, right?
So,
Yeah.
well, and the real reason I bring that up, so Matt and Ryan will know this because they have my email address. They know my full name is Philip Fujiwara, Akira Philip Fujiwara.
Okay. That's a
but
great name.
Thank you. Thank you, my parents. Except for that, it also sucks ass to try and spell or say if you're looking at it. And Philip is not spelled the normal way. It's P-F-I-L instead of H. And right, and then there's like, is Phil 2 L's or is it? Who cares? But so yeah, I truly, I do go by my middle name, and it's not much easier, but
This
yeah,
is like
it's
a
real-
name support group.
He's saying he feels your pain.
I
love
do.
this.
I do. Well, it's nice to also have someone else who's like, man, the first day of school sucks.
Right. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
We there's nothing but love here.
Jawheads, write in feedback at CinemaJaw if your name is also. No one has a bad name,
No.
but you have a name that maybe is hard for a lot of other people.
Share with
Every
the group.
name is hard for Ryan.
That's true.
I butcher them all.
It could be,
His own
be
name.
Bob Smith, and he would somehow mispronounce it.
How many Z's in this name? Is it B-O-Z-B?
Is it this? We just got an email from a Boob Smythe.
So that being said, a name that in theory should need no introduction. For our first question, is Jesse McCartney? Is he related to Paul McCartney? And no, indeed, he is not. I was correct. I'm surprised that for CinemaJaw, he's not more well known because he was in so many Disney Channel original movies.
So weird.
And he also was the voice of Theodore in all 4 of the live-action Alvin and the Chipmunks. So,
Wow.
I still got nothing on this. Just not on my radar.
I know that Chris Lee was in, right?
no, not Chris Lee. Jason Lee.
Jason Lee. Right.
I think Chris Lee was already dead.
Christopher Lee, not the same
not the
person.
Jawhead.
Right.
Yeah. Who's also a great name for a fan of movies.
Hang on a second. There have been 4 Alvin and the Chipmunk movies?
I mean, Chipwreck just came out last year.
That was the
Chipwreck?
most surprising, yeah.
Oh, my God.
And
Do they contract a
'cause,
disease
well,
on a cruise and all die?
they're
There was
making,
a-
That
they're
would be a
making
good
money.
end to the series.
There was not only a squeakquel, but a
what?
pre-squeakquel. However the hell they worded that.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then the Chipwreck.
Just quit while you're ahead, Phil.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next fact.
What is the the note I have is Judi Dench dash Shakespeare in love question mark.
How much screen
Yeah,
time?
Yeah. So she was in there for 8 minutes. I think Ryan had asked if that was the shortest best supporting actress Oscar ever won. And no, it's actually not. The shortest was for 2 minutes and 30 seconds for Hermione Baddeley. I think I'm saying that right. when she was in The Room at the Top in 1959.
Wow.
Never heard of that or her.
I know the movie. I have not seen it, but
so one of the people
an
in
Oscar for 2 minutes
Yeah.
is something.
And not no sneezing at Judi Dench either, because 8 minutes is also
Sure.
pretty impressive.
I mean, it would take me at least 15
Yeah.
to get the Oscar.
You have to lead up to that, right?
Right.
You need.
I need a little runway.
Yeah,
to,
you need a push.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then our last one, who directed Under the Skin, that was
Jonathan something.
Jonathan Glazer. Jonathan Glazer. His two other movies were 2000's Sexy Beast.
Oh,
and,
it's a great film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, same. I've never heard of it, so.
Ben
You'll
Kingsley.
you'll have to turn this opportunity. Yes. I'm not going to say the other famous line from that movie. That's it's a great movie.
Then he did 2004's Birth.
Oh, right. So I just watched Birth. Yes. This is with Nicole Kidman. It was a suggestion that came up on the show a couple months back where Nicole Kidman's husband dies.
Oh, I've seen that.
And then 10 years later, a little boy says that
That's right. And he's
it's
like,
the husband.
yeah.
And he's
that's a creepy
determined.
film.
It's really creepy.
Yeah. That's a good film.
I'm
Hey,
writing that one.
Jawheads, it's free on Vudu with ads. And I watched it. I'm going to be honest with you. Only about 5 ads popped up the entire time. It's
However, the
free,
therapy
basically.
sessions afterwards will not be free.
Right.
You'll need at least 3.
It's a creepy one. I
It
like
is a
it.
bit creepy. She
What-
gets a little bit creepy in that one too, doesn't she?
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bathtub scene.
I was gonna say the
I don't want to go
bathtub
any
scene.
further, but that's weird.
Yeah, that's
for
what we
sure.
need to really properly say about that scene anyway.
Yeah, and in fact, being a film guy, I actually went and saw how they filmed it to make it so believable
Well, they put
and what
water
was
in a
going on.
bathtub, and then they get cameras and put them around the bathtubs.
All right.
CGI.
Yes. Was that everything we had in there, Phil?
That's all we got.
All right. Jump back in there.
Kanzu.
Matt, it brings us to a segment called
Cinema War.
The War. It works like this. Me and Matt were fighting on a topic. Our guest, our jury this week, Elliott, gets to play the judge, the jury, and the executioner and tell the jawheads at home who he thinks won this Cinema War. And it's important because we're fighting for 20 seconds of jaw time to rant and rave on whatever the hell we want. Phil, tell the jawheads at home what today's Cinema War topic is.
Today's Cinema War topic, Steven Spielberg plans to ask the Academy to require a 4-week exclusive theatrical release before a film is eligible for an Academy Award. Is this a good fight to make? Or do you think platforms like Netflix and Hulu should not have to show their movies in theaters and still be eligible? Ryan, you're going to be with Steven's side, and you want them to have to play in theater. Matt, you're on Netflix's side. Their movies should be eligible no matter what the theatrical run. Let this stream of a cinema war begin.
Amazon Prime Video is the same thing as Netflix, except for one area. They abide by the same rules as every other film studio. They release their movies in the theaters for a set amount of time before bringing it to the streaming service. This allows cinephiles, like myself, to see something on the big screen with a collective audience if I choose to. Netflix does not.
Right.
Not that hard, Matt.
In the spirit of good sportsmanship, I am actually going to concede one of my points to you. So I am bringing in a guest to actually argue for your side. We're super lucky to have him. He worked with Steven Spielberg as the star of Jurassic Park. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tyrannosaurus Rex to Cinemajaw. T-Rex, what have you got to tell us? Oh, that's right. Dinosaurs went extinct. Evolve, Ryan, or face the same fate.
Matt, HBO makes a lot of great movies. Behind the Candelabra, The Tale, Recount, to name a few. And if they were going to win a big award, it would not be an Oscar. It would be an Emmy. Why? Because it was made to watch at home. Essentially, that is what Netflix is trying to do. Make movies and not allow people to see them any other way than at home. Fine. Then compete for an Emmy, not an Oscar.
Movies are movies. Boy, is this a familiar song. TV news is bad. People need to read newspapers. YouTube is bad. People need to watch TV news. I love going to the theater, but not as much as I love seeing new movies. Does that make sense? You are a podcaster, Ryan, so thank you for killing the local radio experience. Wait, what? It's still alive and well? Change is both inevitable and healthy, Ryan. Let go of your silly hang-ups.
Matt, we the people love going to the movie theaters to see movies together. Want proof? Last year, 2018, the U.S. spent $11.8 billion at the box office. It is one of our great pastimes. Spielberg is looking at the big picture, and he wants to keep the theater experience alive. He's not against Netflix. He just wants them to showcase their work in theaters like everyone else.
Do you really think it's about the theater experience, or
Yes.
is it about that $1 billion you just mentioned, Ryan? Let's be real here.
Theater
Director
experience.
Ava DuVernay, have you heard of her?
Heard.
Whose film When They See Us premieres on Netflix later this year, posted on Twitter that she values Netflix because, and this is a quote, it distributes black work far and wide. 190 countries will get to see When They See Us, she tweeted. I have just one film distributed wide internationally. Not Selma, not Wrinkle. It was 13th by Netflix. That matters.
In the early days of this podcast, when Netflix, believe it or not, because we've been around this long, when Netflix was just starting to stream movies, you, Matt, foolishly predicted that in 10 years there would be no more movie theaters left. What made me upset was how excited you were about this. A world with no movie theaters, I thought. How terribly sad. That's a world I don't want to live in. This is a small way that Spielberg is trying to keep the movie theater idea and people going to them together. That's it. Netflix, get along for the ride.
Yeah, I'm sure it has nothing to do with money. I think Netflix actually said it best. So I'm going to quote them as my second quote. We love cinema. Here are some things we also love. Access for people who can't always afford or live in towns without theaters, letting everyone everywhere enjoy releases at the same time, and giving filmmakers more ways to share art. These things are not mutually exclusive, and that's the end of the quote. Spielberg is holding the line of what cinema is, but no one person gets to decide that. The audience does.
I'll just say this. If Netflix loves cinema, let me watch my credits without your stupid ads popping up. Let me watch the whole movie.
You mean the ads for the next movie?
It's ridiculous. We're button heads as we do each and every week on CinemaWAR. We throw it to our guest, our jury. Elliott, what did you think of this CinemaWAR?
Gentlemen,
It's a tough one.
you both make compelling arguments. You've clearly done this a few hundred times before. I commend you on sticking up for both sides. I too am a cinephile. I love movie. I love Spielberg. Spielberg helped shape my youth and my appreciation for the craft. He made me cry. He made me laugh. He's made me pretty pissed in this instance because it sounds to me like the guy has got some sour grapes, that he's worried that Netflix are now going to take his mantle, that he's not going to be exclusive by siphoning off and funneling down the amount of movies that can be put into the Academy. And it does, in some respects, as Matt says, Honka's someone who's living in a different age and he needs to get with the times. Netflix, as far as I can see from the last 7-8 years, hasn't destroyed movie-going experience, and it won't do in the future either. There will always be cinema, just like vinyl. There will always be vinyl. There will always be people who want to buy vinyl, who want to listen to vinyl, who want to appreciate things in a certain format. Cinema will always be there. By opening up the avenues for people to get more art, to see more art, to be awarded more art, can only be a good thing for people like us, for your podcast. So in the best faith of your friendship, and in this podcast in general, the more movies are out there, the more people listen to Cinemajaw. Ergo, Matt is the winner.
Wow.
Thank you.
I mean, just that judgment that we had there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Elliott.
4 weeks of community service to both of you, though. Now get out.
Damn that Judge Elliott.
I guess that earns me 20 seconds to rant and rave. And this is what I want to say. Like, David Lynch famously got really pissed about people watching on a phone. I don't care if you watch on a phone, you watch on a laptop. I have a great 4K laptop screen, and it wasn't even terribly expensive. TVs are like 60 inches, 80 inches now. They're enormous, and they're also not that expensive. We're talking like under $1,000 for an enormous TV that would have been very cost prohibitive like 5 years ago when we started doing this podcast 10 years ago. It's so easy to have a great home theater setup or watch on a phone. Doesn't matter. Watch movies on whatever device you want. Don't feel guilty. The point is to just take it in, period.
It's a good debate to have.
I mean, go to the theater if you can.
There are some films that you should see on the big screen.
I agree.
That you should see, but you can also you are allowed to watch them at home in the comfort of your own bed, in your underwear, if you want to watch it on the couch with your dog, with your favorite candy.
Yeah.
If you want to watch it in the big screen, go at it. It's a free country. You should be able to do and watch movies where you want.
The vinyl analogy is the one I was searching for when I was writing this, man, and kudos for making it. But you're right. It's like we're always going to have the 70 millimeter film festival at places
Thank
like
God.
the Music Box,
Yeah.
right? Where we can watch these movies like Hateful Eight and 2001 in beautiful 70 millimeter. It's gonna be there. So, you know what? Just get with the future, Ryan. And Spielberg. I should point that at Spielberg.
All right. Brings us to trivia, Matt.
He's so
I'm
salty.
sour.
He's
Yeah.
salty.
Yeah.
All right. He's gonna make the questions harder for me.
No, I'm kidding. All right, trivia. John Goodman trivia in honor of Captive State, in which is coming out, and hopefully we'll get a review out there.
I'm a little nervous about this.
Now, Elliott, you're our guest. You get to choose if you want to go first. Let Matt go first. There are steals, and if you get hung up on any question, you get one trip into the fish tank for Film Me and Phil. And they do start out easy.
Okay, I'll go first.
Question number 1 over to Elliott. John Goodman appeared in this 2012 Best Picture winner as a Hollywood special effects makeup artist, John Chambers, who helps out the CIA.
God, 2012 movie?
Best Picture winner. Won the Oscar for Best Picture. John Goodman plays a Hollywood special effects artist, John Chambers, who helps the CIA get some hostages out.
Oh my God. Oh my God, why can't I remember the name of the movie? It's, oh my God.
Oh,
I remember
no.
it. Is this timed?
I mean, you got
very
about
roughly.
Yeah. Looking at my watch, you got about another 17
Why do
seconds.
I keep wanting to say arrogant, but it's not
Ooh,
arrogant. It's
very close.
I know. I can't. God, what's the name of the damn movie? I know it's not Geely. I can rule that one out. It's got Ben Affleck in it. Oh my God. Oh God, I can't think. I can't hold up this podcast forever. I can't remember the name of it. Damn it.
You were so close,
Yeah.
man. It's Argo.
Argo. God damn it.
Son of an
Argo.
Matt takes the lead here with a 1-0 lead for Argo. Question 2 is over to him. Matt, in 2017, Goodman appears in this Charlize Theron film in which he plays a spy in Berlin right before the wall came down. Name it.
Atomic Blonde.
2-0, Matt K. You got to climb back here, Elliott.
gosh.
Question 3 is over to him. Name the 2016 film in which John Goodman plays a crazy man who traps Mary Elizabeth Winstead in
Number
his
10
basement.
Cloverfield.
There we go.
Yeah, buddy.
2-1, Matt K. Question 4, back over to him. Matt, in 2015, John Goodman had a supporting role in the film Trumbo. Who played the lead in that film? Dalton Trumbo.
Bryan Cranston.
Damn you. How do I know all his ones and I don't know my own ones?
Dude, that's always how it
Yeah, I
is.
know.
Yeah.
3-1, Matt. Question 5,
Big
back
Lebowski.
over to Elliott.
Sorry, I'm just kidding.
It's probably coming up.
I hope so.
Elliott, besides the movie Flight, John Goodman has appeared in one other film with Denzel Washington. It came out in 1998. The two played detectives, and it actually dives into the world of the occult.
Oh, it's where the murderer touches people and they become the. Oh, am I thinking the right one?
I can't comment.
Oh, what's it called? Oh, why am I struggling with all these movies today? Denzel Washington. What's the name of the? Come on, Elliot. You can see the title.
Denzel
You're
Washington.
walking through blockbusters right now. Oh my God.
You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
What's the score?
It is currently 3-1.
How many more
This is
questions?
question 5. Only 3 questions after this.
Fine, I'll put in my life.
Whoa! Into the fish tank we go.
Yeah.
Phil, what was the name of that 1998 film with John Goodman and Denzel Washington?
Alrighty, Elliot. Your clue this week is help. and I can't get up.
Fallen. Damn it! Thank you.
If it makes you feel better, I had no idea.
I remember the movie because he becomes the serial killer for a while. The guy you get touched by him, and then you become the serial. You take on like his spirit or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shitty movie.
I
Great clue, Phil.
kind of remember the
Thank you,
premise.
Phil.
All right, 3-2. It's a ball game again. Question 6 over to Matt K. Matt, John Goodman has appeared in 6 Coen brother films.
Wow.
The last was in 2013, Inside Llewyn Davis. Who played Llewyn Davis?
Oscar Isaac.
Why is he getting all the easy questions?
Yeah, that wasn't even hard, dude. Come on.
Have you seen Inside Llewyn
I have
Davis?
not, but I know that Oscar Isaac is in it.
There's
Come
a
on.
cat in it too.
Son of a
Oh,
gun.
really?
Yeah.
I'm sold.
Wow. 4-2. We need these last 2 for Elliott. Question 7 is to him. John Goodman has only appeared in 1 Stephen Carell film. It came out in 2007, and it was a sequel. Name it.
2007, Steve Carell. It was a sequel. 2007. Oh my God. This just doesn't seem fair.
Oh, God.
Oscar Isaac. I want his questions.
41-year-old virgin. Wait,
43-and-a-half-year-old virgin.
dude, is it Evan Almighty?
what?
Unbelievable.
What?
I mean, how many sequels has Steve Carell been in?
I don't. That's what I was trying to think. All I could think was Anchorman 2, and that wasn't until like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Ball game's over here. Matt is already locked this thing up here. It is now 4-2. But the last question of the game
I think
is
you beat me last time, though.
I think so.
over to Matt. Matt, John Goodman appeared in 2008's Speed Racer.
Uh-huh. Wow, really?
Yeah. What actor played the Speed Racer?
Oof. I'll jump in the fish tank. I
Into
don't
the
know.
fish tank we go. Phil, what actor played Speed Racer in the 2008 film?
Alrighty, Matt, your clue this week was also in Into the Wild.
I love that movie.
Is it a tree?
Man, I can't remember the dude's name. You know what? Was it that was also Oscar Isaac?
Any guess from Elliott?
The Big Lebowski. Evan Almighty 2.
This is a real art house actor guy. What's his name?
Emil Hirsch.
Yeah.
Emil Hirsch
Okay.
was in it.
Did you see Into the Wild, Elliot?
I did see that.
That's
I think. Yeah. No, I saw. Yeah, I saw that. That's what. Yeah.
Where he eats the plants.
Yes.
And, yeah. Good movie.
If it
Very
did,
good.
if it did come down to a tiebreaker, we call it a jawbreaker. This question would have been to Elliott. Better Coen Brothers movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, or The Big Lebowski?
Which one's better?
Yeah.
Wow. I think The Big Lebowski is a better movie.
Yeah, we'd give
That's
that one to him.
absolutely
We'd give
correct.
him to him. The real jawbreaker was this, Age of Emil Hirsch.
Oh,
I could barely think of who he was.
Yeah.
34.
Lock him in at 34. Matt, you got a guess?
I think he's a little older than that, so I'll say 36.
Give that one to Elliott. 33?
Thank you. 1 year
33
out.
for Elliott.
Look at that.
Not bad.
Do I get 2 bonus points and win the whole competition from that?
There you go.
There.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. Get a handshake here. It was a friendly friendly combatants here.
I don't know. Matt's busy breaking.
I know.
everything in
I don't know what the
studio.
heck happened.
That's not how you celebrate.
Wow. Handshake here. Matt's microphone fell down. This is great.
We'll do it live.
Brings us to the end of a great jaw. First and foremost, we got to thank our guest, Elliott. Thanks for coming back on CinemaJaw.
I'd like to feel that you wanted to thank me rather than you had to thank me, but I appreciate it. I love coming and seeing you guys, and I love talking film with you guys as well. You're very good at what you do.
Elliott's coming back in October. Am I right?
Yeah. We'll have you back. We'll talk some horror, man.
Oh my God, I'm already getting very excited about this.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna mark it in my calendar.
I honestly look forward to October pretty much from November on.
It's for me. It's a month of pure enjoyment. I just indulge in every horror movie I've ever watched, in a bunch I haven't seen yet, and it's almost like a festival in my house.
Do you go out to like the haunted houses and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, so do
I
we.
do 13th Floor. I do all those kind of places.
Have you been to Hell's Gate yet?
I've not done Hell's Gate.
We've been doing that one for the last 3 years.
It's a great one.
It's awesome.
I mean, it's my Christmas. It's my Easter. It's my everything.
Same.
I love Halloween is my month, and then and then I count down the days to the next Halloween.
Yeah.
It's my time of year. I love horror.
All right. You're in, man. We'll have you.
Cool.
For sure.
Yes. We also got to thank our sponsors.
Yeah, thanks to Cards Against Humanity and the Chicago Podcast Co-op who help us get cool sponsors like them.
Also, the guy right there sitting behind the glass inside the fish tank, our engineer and editor, Phil.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. While we're on the thank train, I do also have to thank Matt Kay because I have never seen a mic be dropped so gracefully and in a way that requires me to do very little work. That could have been catastrophic for me later this week.
It could have been.
If you want to support CinemaJaw, please leave us a review.
And while you're at it, click subscribe. It's one extra click, and it really helps us out.
Until next week, I'm Ryan, the movie guy.
I'm Matt Kay, and keep on jawing about the movies.